It was the kind of Saturday morning that should have felt peaceful. Sunlight spilled through the blinds, the smell of fresh cinnamon rolls wafted from the kitchen, and my daughter, Maisie, was giggling upstairs, brushing her favorite doll's hair. I was in the middle of folding laundry when I heard the front door swing open without a knock. "Hey, where's the little gremlin?" my sister Whitney called out as she waltzed in like she owned the place. "Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video." I stiffened. Whitney was the golden child, the drama queen. And, worse, my parents' forever favorite. Even after everything she'd done growing up, cheating, lying, and throwing tantrums that would make a soap opera blush, they still adored her. Meanwhile, I, the responsible daughter, was seen as too sensitive, too strict, too boring. Maisie came running down the stairs, her curly brown hair bouncing with each step. She loved Whitney. Of course she did. Whitney was loud, wild, fun. I didn't blame her. Maisie was only 6. "Auntie Whit!" Maisie squealed. Whitney scooped her up dramatically. "Ugh, this mop is out of control," she said, tugging playfully on Maisie's long hair. "Careful," I said from the hallway, trying to sound casual. "She's sensitive about her hair." "Oh, relax," Whitney smirked. "She's a kid, not a supermodel." I should have said more. I should have told her to leave. But my parents were visiting later that day, and I didn't want to spark another feud. Hours passed. We had brunch, my parents arrived, and everyone was fawning over Whitney like she'd just descended from heaven. My mom even brought her homemade lemon pie. Whitney's favorite. Not mine, never mine. "I'm going to take Maisie upstairs for a mini spa day," Whitney suddenly announced with a wink. "She's due for a little makeover." Maisie lit up. "Can we paint nails too?" "Absolutely. Auntie's got magic hands." I hesitated. "Whitney, don't cut her hair. Seriously." Whitney laughed, holding up her hands. "What am I, a monster?" "Relax, sis." Geez. I wish I had followed them. I wish I had trusted my gut. But I stayed downstairs, listening to my mom drone on about how Whitney was interviewing with some luxury fashion brand, and how I should be more like her. Looser, more modern, not so uptight. About an hour later, Maisie came back down. Her face was flushed, her eyes were watery. "Mommy," she whispered, "I don't like it." And then I saw it. Her beautiful hair, gone. Her long, soft brown curls had been hacked off unevenly, butchered. The right side of her head was nearly shaved. The left was jagged, a few strands dangling like someone gave up halfway. My heart dropped. What happened?" I asked, kneeling in front of her, already trembling. Whitney came sauntering in behind her, holding a pair of silver scissors like a trophy. "Chill," she laughed. "It's just hair. She wanted bangs. I just gave her my version." "She's 6, I hissed. "You butchered her hair." My mom snorted behind me. "Oh, please, it'll grow back." My dad chimed in. "Honestly? She looks better, less messy." Whitney did her a favor. Maisie burst into tears right there on the rug. And no one comforted her. Except me. I scooped her into my arms, glaring at them through blinding rage. "You think this is funny?" I said. "You think this is some prank?" Whitney shrugged. "Come on, it's not like she's entering a beauty pageant tomorrow. Lighten up." Maisie buried her face in my neck, sobbing. And that's when I knew. I was done. I didn't say another word. I didn't argue. I didn't scream. But I looked at them, my sister, my parents, and something in me hardened. They had crossed the line. And this time, I was going to make sure they felt it. The next morning, Maisie refused to go to school. I tried brushing what was left of her hair into a cute headband style, but she just looked at herself in the mirror and burst into tears. "They'll laugh at me, Mommy," she whispered. I sat beside her, wrapping my arms around her. "You are still the most beautiful girl in the world," I said, kissing her temple. "But you don't have to go today. We'll take the day for us." I texted the school, called in sick from work, and spent the day with Maisie doing anything to make her feel seen, loved, safe. But beneath my calm voice and gentle hands was a storm. I couldn't stop thinking about how Whitney had laughed, how my mom dismissed Maisie's tears like they were a joke, how my dad said she looked better now. They didn't just hurt my child, they humiliated her, and they expected me to move on, like always. But this time, I didn't just want them to feel guilty. I wanted them to feel the kind of shame Maisie did when she stared at her reflection. So that night, after Maisie fell asleep snuggled up beside me, I opened my laptop and opened a file I hadn't touched in years. My family didn't know it, but I owned a silent stake in the very beauty salon Whitney worked part-time at. Years ago, when I was flush with savings, I had helped the owner, Marcia, an old college friend, expand her business. I never asked for credit, only a clause in the agreement that allowed me decision-making rights if needed. And now, I needed them. The next morning, I met Marcia at the salon. She was furious when I told her what Whitney did to Maisie. "She did that to a child?" Marcia said. "In my salon's name? She brought scissors from here, used the logo bag like it was a prop in her prank. Posted it on her story, too. #SnipSnipChaos, I added, showing her the screenshot. Marcia's jaw tightened. "Done. Consider her gone." "And one more thing," I said. "I want to host an event here. Something special. For little girls like Maisie." She blinked, then smiled. "Now that I can get behind." 2 weeks later, we launched the Curls and Courage campaign. Free makeovers for young girls recovering from bullying, medical treatments, or any kind of trauma involving their hair. Professional stylists volunteered. Donations poured in. The event went viral. And guess what? Maisie was the star of it all. Her story touched hearts. Mothers, daughters, teachers. She was featured on local news in her sparkly pink dress and a brand new hairstyle done by one of the city's best stylists. Her smile came back. Her glow returned. And Whitney? She watched it all from home, unemployed, unfollowed, and furious. But I wasn't done. During the media buzz, I shared Maisie's story publicly on a parenting blog. I didn't name names, but people who knew us knew. And soon, whispers started. Whitney lost a brand collaboration she'd been bragging about for weeks. Some of her influencer friends distanced themselves. Even my parents started getting concerned messages from friends asking if what they'd read was true. My mom called. "You made us look like monsters." I held the phone in silence. "You know," she added coldly, "maybe if you weren't always trying to play the victim, things wouldn't escalate like this." I almost laughed. "The only victim here was Maisie," I said, "and instead of protecting her, you laughed." "She's just a child. She'll forget." But I won't. Then I hung up. 3 days later, I filed an official no-contact order. My lawyer delivered the paperwork. My parents, in all their narcissism, tried to protest it, but deep down, they knew the public opinion was no longer in their favor. They'd always assumed I would stay quiet, that I'd absorb every insult, every betrayal, because that's what I'd always done. But this time, they cut my daughter. So I cut them off, permanently. Months passed. Without my parents in our lives, Maisie flourished. She started waking up with a light in her eyes again. Her confidence returned, bit by bit. First in the form of small smiles, then louder laughs, and finally, one day, a picture she drew for me. A stick figure with curly hair and a superhero cape labeled Mom. But just as our peace began to feel permanent, my sister tried to crawl her way back in. It started with a message request. "Whitney, hey, I know things got out of hand. Can we talk? I want to apologize to Maisie." I stared at the screen. For a second, I thought maybe she meant it. Then, the next day, a video surfaced. Whitney, on a podcast interview, laughing and saying, "People are way too sensitive about hair. I snipped one little ponytail and got canceled like I committed a felony." Any doubt I had evaporated. That was it. I wasn't just going to move on. I was going to rebuild the future in a way that ensured my daughter never again lived in the shadow of that kind of cruelty. So I made a move Whitney and my parents never saw coming. You see, my father was a silent investor in a small luxury spa chain, the same spa that had just partnered with our Curls and Courage Foundation, unaware that the investor's daughter was the one who started the viral movement, and legally, he couldn't remain an investor in a cause that publicly exposed his family for abusive behavior. So I gave the spa's legal team what they needed: proof, screenshots, clips, and the clause in their policy that required full alignment with the company's public values. Within a week, my father was dropped from the board. All his years of backroom dealings, all the silent reputation building, gone with a single clause. But I wasn't done yet. I took the momentum from Curls and Courage and turned it into something bigger. The Ribbon Project, a nonprofit organization that provided free therapy, makeovers, and legal aid for children who had experienced public humiliation, physical bullying, or emotional abuse, especially from family. Our launch event was a gala, a red carpet affair, and Maisie, my brave, bright girl, walked in with curls bouncing, wearing a sparkling silver dress, holding my hand tight. Reporters asked her how she felt. She looked straight into the camera and said, "When people try to cut you down, grow back louder." The photo of her saying that ended up on the cover of 3 parenting magazines. A month later, we received an anonymous letter. No name, no return address, but I recognized the handwriting. My mom's. Inside was a single line: "You made us look like villains, but we were just trying to protect your sister's day." Attached was a wrinkled photo of me, Whitney, and Maisie taken years ago, back when I still hoped our family could be normal. I stared at that photo, then slowly fed it through the shredder. Because they weren't protecting anything, they were destroying, and I had finally stopped letting them. I never replied. Instead, I stood in front of 300 people that weekend at the Ribbon Project's first annual fundraiser and shared the full story for the first time. I didn't hide the names. I didn't flinch at the gasps. And when I finished, the applause was thunderous. That night, a woman approached me in tears. "Thank you," she whispered, "for showing the rest of us that silence doesn't have to be survival." I nodded, holding Maisie's hand. Because that's what they never understood. My sister, my mother, my father. They thought cutting someone down would keep them small. But all they did was prune the wrong plant. And now? I was blooming, and I had no room left for weeds. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments, from where are you